I was arrested by the IDF in Palestine. For those of you who don't know, I recently traveled to Palestine to help rebuild the hospital in Gaza, adopt some orphans, and help the widows. And with the brutality of today's attacks against innocent men, women, and children in Palestine, it's important that this message gets out. While I was in Palestine, the IDF were monitoring my every single move and even got me banned on TikTok for helping the orphans. When I traveled from Hebron to Al-Aqsa, I was met by the IDF forces. I was refused entry into Al-Aqsa as a Muslim American and immediately was assaulted and detained. I was physically abused and harassed for being pro-Palestinian. The IDF took my phone, my passport, and my money and told me I was under arrest. I asked to speak to a U.S. consulate or receive lawyer representation, but both requests were denied. I was told to shut up. They turned off their body cams and physically assaulted me for not saying I love Israel. Believe me, this is not a complaint of any sort, because this is not even a fraction of what the Palestinian people go through, or that Palestinian prisoner who was right next to me who was getting beat down. Rather, I pray that this story reaches the right people and I give a voice to the voiceless of the millions of Palestinians living under occupation. The IDF proceeded to arrest me and told me they were taking me to the police station. But before they did that, the IDF paraded me around the Jewish part of Jerusalem, and where hundreds of Jews clapped, celebrated, and filmed me as the IDF publicly humiliated me. But before the IDF took me to the police station, they took a detour and brought me to their break room, where over 60 IDF officers were waiting for me to arrive. Upon arrival, 2 IDF soldiers take me into a bathroom and asked me to get naked. They told me they needed to strip search me, but I refused. Upon refusal, a 3rd IDF soldier was brought into that bathroom in which a gun was pointed at me and I was told to strip naked. I told them I needed their body cams on, but they refused. After being stripped down to my boxers, they even took out their phones to make a few videos and laughed and giggled as they humiliated me in that bathroom. After that humiliation, I was brought outside, in which I asked the commanding officer what was going to happen to me next, in which he then grabbed me by my neck and shoved me to the ground and said, "This is Israel. We do what we want over here." Over 17 IDF soldiers then proceeded to escort me to the police station. I told them I needed medical attention, not only due to the abuse, but because of a kidney infection that I was currently dealing with. I requested to go to the bathroom, but even that was denied. I once again requested for the U.S. consulate, for a lawyer, or even a phone call so I could call back home to my family and let them know what's going on. And they told me 2 simple words: shut up. I realized something in that moment, that it wasn't the U.S. consulate that I needed, or a lawyer, or a phone call, or even my medication. I only needed Allah. And that's when my hands raised up and tears filled my eyes and my heart was softened, and Allah explained to me that all the doors are closed and I have to rely upon Him. And I called out to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the same dua that Nabi Yunus alayhi salam made. In the triple darkness, the darkness of the night, the darkness of the ocean, and the darkness of the belly of the whale. And I called out to Allah and I said to Allah that the angels had taken up his dua and said that we know this voice, but it comes from an unfamiliar place. Ya Rab, the angels know my voice and they will take it to you. Ya Allah, please take me out of this calamity. I then started reciting Ayatul Kursi and every single dua and pieces of Quran that I knew. And my voice got louder and louder. And I was told by these IDF soldiers to shut my mouth. But I realized something, that in that moment, they were getting scared. And the jinn and shayateen that was possessing them and that was with them were getting burned by the Quran and these du'as that we were making. So I continued to make them even louder with more tawakkul on Allah, raising my hands, tears in my eyes, because I knew that the only person that could help me in that moment was Allah Azza wa Jal. Meanwhile, a Palestinian man next door to me is getting beat and screaming in a way that wallahi, if I close my eyes, I can still hear that scream. It was such a unique scream filled with pain and torture that when he, the IDF soldier that was beating him, came out the room, he had a smile on his face. And he was bragging to his colleagues about how he made him squeal in a manner that he has never heard before. And this video is not for me, but it is for that man that I've never met, a face that I've never seen. And I want to be the voice for that man who still might be in that prison with no hope whatsoever. So this brother of yours is speaking on your behalf, whoever you are, wherever you might be, because I am the voice for the voiceless. As I make dua and raise my hands to Allah, the captain comes out and coerces me and tries to convince me to open my phone, to place my password there so that they can find something more incriminating against me to arrest me for even a longer time. But of course, I refused. Alhamdulillah. As I'm able to break my fast now in the safety of my home, I was provided with nothing because I needed nothing. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspired me in that moment to break my fast with a piece of grass that I was on the floor. So I took that grass, I made my dua, made my intention and said Bismillah, and I ate that grass. And it reminded me of our brothers and sisters in Gaza who have nothing to eat, and they make food and soups out of that same grass. And by Allah's mercy and His honor, I was able to live like a Palestinian for just a few seconds. Several hours later, I'm brought to speak to the investigating officer. They take my account and force me to sign legal documents, all written in Hebrew. I told them I don't know what I'm signing, but they said that if you want to get out of here right now, you better sign these documents. I asked to receive copies of my documents that I just signed, and they told me that that's not allowed. I was then fingerprinted and processed into the Israeli criminal system. Once this ordeal was over, I was handed back my passport and some of my stuff and told me to exit Aqsa immediately and that I would not be given back my phones. I tell you this story not so that you pity me or feel bad for your brother, rather to be the voice of those Palestinians that deal with this every single day. They have no hope over there in this criminal, dirty, evil system. So this video is for them. So for those who are struggling right now, know that your brother is doing his absolute best to raise money to help the orphans, take care of the widows, and be a voice for you all who don't have any representation or rights there whatsoever. So I'm doing my best. And you have to do your best to share this account, to tell the story of the Palestinians, and to share the story of your brothers so that the voice of the Palestinians could be heard, so that we can help the ummah over there. Because wallahi, my brothers and sisters, I was there, and there is no help except the help of Allah for our brothers over there, for our sisters over there. They need our support. And wallahi, if you and I are not there for them, there is no help coming from the ummah. You and I have not forgotten them. To help our brothers and sisters in Palestine, I'm placing a link in the description, in the pinned comment, and in the bio. So click it and donate literally whatever you can. And if you can't donate for whatever reason, I don't care. Make dua for our brothers and sisters, please. And just share this story so that the injustice of these criminals can be documented and taken seriously. I love you all for the sake of Allah, and thank you for listening.